Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in our series, The Forces of Evil. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. In our previous program, we looked at, or completed our look at one of the major forces of evil in the time to come, Dajjal, the Antichrist. We looked at the descriptions and the powers, the descriptions of him and the powers that he would have, the trial that he would create, and the way by which one may protect oneself from this individual when he comes. Then we began to look briefly at an individual by the name of Ibn Sayyad in the time of Prophet ﷺ, who it was suspected that he was Dajjal. And we said we would continue to look at it in this program as to why he was suspected and what was it about him which led some of the companions even to continue to suspect that in fact he was. We know that as a child he had some, what we may call, prophetic powers. That is, he had a means of prophesying or talking about things, seeming to have knowledge of things which people, the average person, didn't have. Knowledge of things which are in people's minds as a child. When Prophet ﷺ heard about him, he went to investigate him. And it's recorded authentically in Sahih Muslim. On one occasion, Omar and a handful of men went to the Prophet ﷺ to go and check out this child, Ibn Sayyad. And they found him playing with other children near the fort of Banu Maghala. Ibn Sayyad was about the age of 11, 12 at that time. And he didn't notice Prophet ﷺ coming until the Prophet ﷺ reached him and placed his hand on his back and said, "Ibn Sayyad, will you bear witness that I am the messenger of Allah?" And Ibn Sayyad looked at him and said, "I bear witness that you are the messenger of the Gentiles." Then Ibn Sayyad asked Allah's messenger, "Do you bear witness that I am the messenger of Allah?" This is very bold, very challenging, very obstinate. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "I believe in Allah and His messengers." He rejected him. Then he asked him, "What do you see?" And Ibn Sayyad said, "One comes to me who tells the truth and also lies." He has some kind of forces that come to him and give him information. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "You are confused." Then he asked him, "What have I concealed in my mind from you?" And he said, thinking, "It is dukh." Allah's messenger responded, "Get away, for you will never be able to surpass your station." But the Prophet ﷺ was reflecting on was Ad-Dukhan, right? Which Surah Ad-Dukhan, the verse from Surah Ad-Dukhan where Allah mentions it, this is the 44th chapter, verse 10. This individual was able to reach as far as Dukh, which is actually a dialectical variant of the term Dukhan. But he was not able to bring it all up. Anyway, the Prophet ﷺ told him to get away, pointing out really, in fact, that he really wasn't Dajjal. He couldn't go beyond that point. And at that point, Umar ibn al-Khattab asked permission of the Prophet ﷺ to cut off his head, to kill him at the spot. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "If it is really him, if this really was Dajjal, you would not be able to overpower him. And if he wasn't, there would be no good in you killing him." At any rate, on another occasion, or during the same encounter when he was asking different questions, he asked Ibn Sayyad, what did he see? And Ibn Sayyad said, I see a throne over water. Prophet ﷺ told him, what you are seeing is the throne of Satan on the ocean. And at any rate, this individual, based on the Prophet ﷺ's confirmation, was that he in fact was not Ad-Dajjal. However, as I mentioned, some of the companions continued to feel that in fact he was. And Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, one of the companions, mentioned an incident which took place after the time of the Prophet ﷺ, where this feeling of theirs was expressed. And he said, we went out, this is also recorded in Sahih Muslim, we went out to perform Hajj with Ibn Sayyad, or Ibn Sa'id. And we camped in a place, and all of the people left. So only himself and Ibn Sayyad was there. And he said that, we did suspect that he was Dajjal. And Ibn Sayyad, when he saw that it was just the two of them, he picked up his luggage and brought it next to Abu Sa'id and sat next to him. Abu Sa'id became very nervous about this, so he told him, it's really hot. Why don't you put your luggage under that tree, get the shade of the tree. So he went off and he did that. And he then went and got a bowl of milk from a sheep, and he brought it to Abu Sa'id, sit down with him to have him drink some. But Abu Sa'id refused. He said, it's so hot, I think the milk will also be hot. I don't really want to drink it. But really what was in his heart was he didn't want to drink anything from this individual, fearing that he was in fact Dajjal. In any case, Abu Sa'id, this Ibn Sayyad realized what was going on, and he said to him, Abu Sa'id, I was thinking to get myself a rope and tie it from a tree and hang myself because of what people say about me, accusing me of being Dajjal. When in fact, you Ansar, you people of Medina, you know about the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ concerning Dajjal well. And is that not the case? So Abu Sa'id said, yes, it's true. So he said, didn't the Prophet ﷺ say that Ad-Dajjal would be a disbeliever and I am a believer? Abu Sa'id had to admit this is true. And he said, didn't he also say that he would be barren, sterile? And I have 2 children. I have 2 children in Medina. I've left my kids in Medina. Abu Sa'id had to admit this is also true. And he said, didn't he say that Dajjal would not be able to enter Medina? And I was born there. I was born there. And we're going now to Mecca. Abu Sa'id said, oh, he had to admit, really, this couldn't possibly be Dajjal. After saying that, then he said to him, however, I know the time and place of his birth and where he is right now. Once he said that, Abu Sa'id was just put back in doubt again. He said, may Allah cause you to suffer loss for the rest of your days. There is, however, another narration we have from Tamim ad-Dari, one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, who brought information specifically about Dajjal. And the Prophet ﷺ called the people together in his masjid, and he narrated to them what Tamim ad-Dari had informed him. Tamim ad-Dari had said that he and 30 men from the tribe of Lacham and Jutham were at sea, and they were tossed around in the sea for about a month. Then they came near an island, just as the sun was setting. They got in a rowboat and landed on the island. There they met a beast with hair so long and thick that he couldn't tell its front from its back. And they said, woe to you, who are you? And it replied, I am Al-Jassasa. And they said, what is Al-Jassasa? And he said, oh people, go to the man in that jungle, for he is eager to hear your news. And they went to this individual, quite fearful, because after seeing this beastly-looking individual all covered in hair, they didn't know really what to expect. Anyway, they came in and they found in this clearing an individual that, as he said, was the most powerfully built person he'd ever seen. And he was thoroughly shackled, all tied up in irons. His hands were bound to his neck, and his legs were encased in iron from knees to ankle. And they asked, who are you? He asked, who are you? I will tell you about me soon. And they said, we are from Arabia. We were at sea, and the storm brought us to your island. Then he asked him questions about the Sea of Galilee, you know, and whether the trees in that area are still bearing fruit, and whether there's plenty of water in the Sea of Galilee, and the spring of Zughar, and whether there's plenty of water there used for irrigation. And then he asked them about the prophet of the illiterates. He said, has he left Mecca and gone to Yathrib, to Medina? Have the Arabs fought against him? And how did he deal with them? And so on and so forth. And they confirmed all the information he asked about them. And then he told them, I am the Messiah. I will soon come forth, and I will set off across the earth, and within 40 nights I will visit every town in the world except Mecca and Medina, for both of them are prohibited to me. So he confirmed that he was in fact the Dajjal, claiming that he was the Messiah. That's why it's called the false Christ. He will claim that he is Christ as well as claiming that he is Allah, because Christ has been associated in Christianity as being God, as Allah. So he is around. From that time he's been around, and he will come forth when Allah has decided it is time for him to do so. So the Dajjal is a real person. A person who Allah has given certain powers, certain abilities. He will create trials on this world like we have never seen before. We should be aware of his coming. We should protect ourselves from his evil by knowing all of the descriptions of him, by being firm with our religion, practicing it, holding on firmly to it, avoiding his coming if we hear that he has appeared. And we should not be deluded or fooled by the various interpretations and explanations which have been given to explain him away, to say that he is in fact Western civilization, he is capitalism, he is the television, he is the Pope, or he is the this, he is the that. You know, as time passes, people will make these kind of mentions. They will make him into a symbolic individual, having no real reality to him. But the fact of the matter is that he is real, and he will come. We need to inform our families, our children, our friends, keep knowledge of him alive. We talk about everything else. We enjoy stories. We watch movies or read magazines or, you know, read stories in books, novels, etc. We are entertained by these things. But the real knowledge that we need to know, we need to have for our own protection for the future, many of us are ignorant. This information which I've passed on to you, most people don't know about. People who are Muslims, who should know this information, And the Prophet ﷺ warned that when Dajjal is no longer spoken about in the mosques, on Friday prayer you will not hear the Imam speaking about Dajjal anymore. This is a sign that his time is soon. And if any of us reflects today, when was the last time we heard an Imam in the mosque speak about Dajjal? I think we'll be hard-pressed to remember a time this year, last year, or the year before, when we heard an Imam speaking about Ad-Dajjal. So let us be prepared. Prepared by knowledge, not to become superstitious and then everybody we find who looks strange or whatever, we're going to say, okay, here's Dajjal. I don't mean for us to go into a state of panic, but we should have solid knowledge, be prepared, be firm in our faith, practice this religion as it should be practiced, so that when and if that time comes, we'll be prepared for him. Now, in our previous program, we mentioned that Dajjal would be killed in Jerusalem. The struggle would take place there, the final clash of the forces of evil there with that of the forces of Prophet Isa, Prophet Jesus. This would be his second coming. And after Prophet Jesus defeats Dajjal, he will establish the rule of God again over the earth. It will be according to Islam. The cross will be broken, finished. Christianity will end. And the Quran will be the book of Revelation. He will not bring a new revelation because the Quran came to complete. So he's not coming as a new prophet, but only completing his prophethood. He will rule the earth. Truth will spread, establish itself in the land again. However, before that, the completeness of his rule will take place. Another force of evil will be unleashed. It is a force that we spoke about in our interpretation of the chapter known as the cave, Surah Al-Kahf, wherein Dhul Qarnayn, centuries ago, was asked to build a barrier to protect the people of a land from the Gog and the Magog. In our coming program, we will be looking at them as one of the final forces of evil unleashed in the world, about whom the Prophet ﷺ prophesied and gave us full information about their coming and how they will ultimately be again defeated. With that, dear viewers, I'd like to thank you for being with us in this segment of the program, The Forces of Evil. We hope that you will continue to follow our program in the coming segment, in which we will complete our look at the forces of evil in the times to come. I now bid you farewell. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.